Chewing the Cud podcast, a podcast for the UK dairy industry, brought to you from the southwest of England and listened to around the world. Hello and welcome to Chewing the Cud. My name's Andrew Jones, and with me today is
Sarah Bolt.
How you doing, Sarah?
I'm really good, thank you. And you, Andrew?
Yeah, not too bad. New year. Have you made any changes for New Year? Any New Year resolutions?
Well, I had one, and that was to continue going to the gym. I've managed that. So, been 3 times this week, so I'm really proud of that. So,
oh, well done. I thought when you paused there, I thought you were going to say it was already done and dusted. It was like,
so it's all been a bit full this week. So, yes.
well done you. Well done you. Yeah, I did see your as a Women in Dairy post about the fact that you'd want to change. You decided to make was go to the gym, and you'd stuck with it.
Yeah, make some changes in life. And so since September, I've been managing 2 or 3 times a week, which is absolutely fabulous.
Definitely. Anyway, today we are going to talk about educational opportunities in agriculture. This was one of the last podcasts I recorded with Neil, but we went down to what I'd still know as Cannington. I suppose most people still knew as Cannington, and we had a trip around Cannington. But they've got an open day shortly.
So tell me a bit more about this open day. When is it, Andrew?
Well, this hopefully goes out on, I think it's the 16th of January, people listen to this, but their next open day is Saturday, the 25th of January from 10 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon.
Brilliant. And what can people expect to find when they go there?
Well, I'm hoping people will say what opportunities there are in agriculture, but you have an opportunity to see the wide ranges of courses that are available, be able to meet some of the tutors, teachers and other staff to see what's available there. Have a look around at all the various facilities, the workshops, the classrooms. I'm not sure if you'd be allowed down on the farm. I don't know that one. And just see what advice and support they can offer you in terms of application, financial support, and just see what general student life is about.
Absolutely awesome. So how do they find out a bit more?
The best way to be was to have a look at the Cannington website, and ideally they'd like people to register on their events page to go to the open day. So I'll put that up on the episode details, but simply go to btc.ac.uk/events.
Superb.
I hope so. I hope people go and enjoy and get to see it. I know they've recently had an Ofsted inspection. They don't unfortunately know the results officially yet. But I'm told, fingers crossed, it's looking good. So hopefully by then they might have had the official announcement. So fingers crossed for them. That would be fantastic.
Oh, that's fabulous. I think if I remember rightly, they won, one of their students won the Student of the Year, Agricultural Student of the Year award. I think so. It shows the quality of students coming out of Cannington these days.
Well, always was. I know when I was there, hands up, I'm an ex-Cannington student, so fully support what they can do in any way. But I know in the AMC competition, the Cannington students always did very well because the lecturer that I had, Richard West, is still there. So, if we did well, then, you've still got some very good teachers down there, that's for sure.
Definitely.
But no, so anyway, enough of us. So hopefully enjoy today's episode on educational opportunities in agriculture. This podcast has been brought to you today by Chewing the Cud Limited, who offer independent advice for dairy and beef nutrition, cow signals advice and training, along with ROMS mobility scoring. For more details on these and other services available, please visit our website www.chewingthecud.com or email us direct on nutrition@chewingthecud.com. Hello and welcome to Chewing the Cud podcast, a podcast for the UK dairy industry. Farmer, advisor, processor, and everyone else, we have topics and episodes that will interest you. we discuss the practical and the technical aspects of different UK dairy industry topics. We aim to make you think about what you're doing and ask yourself, can it be done differently? Listen to us speak with specialists from inside and outside the industry about their area of expertise. Subscribe and listen to episodes for free on your favourite podcast platform or sign up on our website www.chewingthecud.com for podcast notifications so you never miss an episode and links to our socials, including our Instagram, Chewing the Cud Podcast. All one word and remember no G. Or email us direct on podcast@chewingthecud.com. If you like what we do, please share and leave us a review to show your support. And that's it. Enjoy today's episode. So hello and welcome to Chewing the Cud. And today, as we said, we are going to talk about educational opportunities in agriculture. And so with us today are Claire Winson, who is head of, your title's just changed, hasn't it? Animal and Environmental Sciences, is that correct?
That's correct.
And also with us today is George Stickley, who is farm manager here at Cannington.
That's right, yeah.
Well, I probably ought to say, let's get it right first. What is it? It's Bridgewater and Taunton College, Cannington campus. Sorry, to me, it's just Cannington College. Or if you go long way back, is it Somerset Institute of Farming? Or
that's it, Somerset Institute of Agriculture.
Agriculture, that's right. And that's a long time ago.
But to be fair, we are still known as Cannington College. That's what people know.
Exactly.
Everyone still knows us as Cannington, but we get away with it. So we usually start with a little bit about yourself. So I don't know which one of you wants to talk first. Yeah, right. George is pointing. So Claire, just tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, so my background is in agriculture. So I trained in general agriculture, did a degree, worked on a number of farms, then came to Somerset.
Best place in the world.
Yeah, very good, not left. So I've been here 29 years now, and started working in the animal care department and teaching the agriculture side of that, moved my way up through the management structure, and I'm now head of the entirety of the land-based provision here at Cannington.
So not just agriculture,
equine, animal, horticulture, and also those commercial aspects of that. So, overseeing the farm with George, but also the equestrian centre, the walled gardens.
Golf course?
Weddings. No, we don't do. I don't do the golf course. That sits with sports. That's the only bit I don't do. However, that is our best bit of land.
I was just going to say, you're going to run across of there.
That happened not long after when I was here as a student myself, and we kept threatening to plough it back up for the farm manager. But the farm manager complained about the golf course so much he ended up managing the golf course as well as the farm, and he wouldn't let us. And we kept saying, "You sure? We'll plough it back up for you," because he kept saying himself, "It's our best bit of land."
Exactly, lots of grass.
Yeah, but we do allow the horses to go running across it every now and then.
By accident.
And George, what about yourself?
Well, I come from the commercial background.
Yep.
I've been herdsman prior to the job here for 40 years.
Yep.
So a long time in the industry.
Yep.
And as I've been at Cannington College, under the circumstances that we've just gone on, and I've taken on to the farm manager position.
So you've progressed up through basically as well. Yeah. So how long have you been farm manager here now?
2 years.
2 years.
Yep.
Good 2 years.
Good 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah,
good
really
learning.
Good 2 years.
So today I should thank, he's not here, he was hoping to be, but he had other things. I should thank Mark Cox, who is a governor, I believe, for Bridgewater and Taunton College. And he approached me, because I know he listens to these regularly. So hello, Mark, if you're listening, could we maybe do something on educational opportunities in agriculture? I thought, what a great idea, especially down here at Cannington. Hand up. I'm an ex-Cannington boy, so I want to see the best for Cannington and what it is going forward. So let's have a quick overview. George is probably best person. Farm, what's here? A brief overview of what's here as a farm.
Well, mainly we're a commercial farm with 220, 230 dairy cows.
Yep.
We rear our own followers, heifers. It's a closed herd now. We've also got on the farm, we've got 200 flock of sheep.
Yep.
Which we lamb in early January.
Yep. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And produce most food yourself.
Yeah, aiming to produce as much as you can yourself, I'm guessing.
That's our main aim, is to be self-sufficient, using the land to produce as much as we can of the food. And we're getting there at the moment. So
Good.
Even with the weather challenges you've had.
The weather challenge is a big thing at the moment.
Well, I was going to say, given what I remember as some of the farmland, I expect you had quite a bit flooded last winter as well, didn't you?
Yeah, devastated.
Was it?
And we had a late spring because we couldn't get on to mow. It was underwater. So it's
challenges are there, but you get through them.
Yeah, so. It's just agriculture.
It is. Farming. That's what we've got to teach people.
Yeah.
Well, and if people are to be relieved, things are going to get more extreme, and we'll have to be facing these challenges to be different every year. And I suppose it's one of the joys of farming. It's never the same. Yes, you've got to milk the cows twice a day, but no day's ever the same, is it?
No, that's right. And the weather's never the same at the moment. So we work with it because you've got to.
Yeah.
Take different ideas on how to cope with different situations, basically.
Got to work around it. You can't change it.
No, you can't change the weather, unfortunately.
No, exactly. I suppose really, and Claire, what are the educational opportunities as your, hold on, let's get it right, head of animal and environmental sciences? What can the college offer for people looking to get into agriculture?
Wow, well, we've got lots of routes that you can get into agriculture. So we run programmes from level 1 all the way up to honours degree programmes now. Within general agriculture and agricultural management, as well as an apprenticeship programme as well. So for potential students who don't want to come into college full-time, they can be out on an apprenticeship, doing an apprenticeship out in the real world.
One day a week back here.
One day a week back here, and doing lots of different sort of additional qualifications as well as on top of just the standard that they now follow for the apprenticeship programme. For students who want to have that all-encompassing college environment and college career, we run those level 1s to level 3 programmes. Again, it is dependent on GCSE results. So you might have loads and loads of experience working on a farm. If you haven't got that GCSE,
haven't got the academic.
That's it. And I know, lots of people will be rolling their eyes, and it's the same with students. English and maths are so key. I think,
absolutely.
Trying to explain to people who aren't in the agricultural world actually how key those skills are and how innovative the industry is becoming. There has to be a level of understanding.
Farming, agriculture still has this, unfortunately, image that, it's just the bumpkins, the yokels. It doesn't matter. You can be
You're shoveling muck.
You don't have to be. You can
spade in them.
Maybe it's not the right way to say it, but you can be a bit thick and it doesn't matter. But it's not.
No, it's just not the case.
It's not the case. Given, some of the podcasts we've done on, the PediView, or where technology is going, or we're talking about tractors. You've got to have that understanding these days. They are so complex.
Exactly, and if you're working in the nutrition industry, or you want to
genetics, anything,
understand the analysis, your silage analysis, you've got to be able to understand numbers.
Exactly.
Yes. And do a little bit of statistics and various other things, and in just general husbandry, working out doses of vaccines or medicines or whatever it is, you've got to be able to do that. And I think people tend to forget that. And we are very much, great. You might come and do your level 2, your level 1 agriculture, but actually what you're doing is also English and maths, English and maths programme.
Sure. We don't need everybody to be a chief, but everybody's still got to have that basic understanding.
Exactly. And that's what, we work really hard to get. And actually, it's often those students that don't have those skills, actually you have to work twice as hard to engage with, because they've got to get those as well as going out on the farm and doing practicals.
They've got to understand instruction, or as you say, a whiteboard or a vaccine or whatever it happens to be. You've still got to be able to understand
You've got to be able to read.
Yes.
You've got to be able to understand instructions.
It's not like you have to learn quadratic equations in agriculture. I've yet to come across that in agriculture, admittedly, but you still need to know.
It's try genetics.
Well, we were always told that was only ever used for astronomy, and we were all going, well, what do we want to know that for? Somebody somewhere will one day go up all the way through, so it's worth it.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a complex understanding. You just have to have the basics.
Yeah. So like I say, so we've got programs from level 1 for those students who need to really improve on those GCSEs, or maybe have come from an alternative background, just to give them they have the basics out there on the farm and work on those wider skills as well. Our level 2s for our students that have got in old money GCSEs that are just under the C level, or 4s as they're now known. I have to keep thinking about it. And that's a 1-year course. Again, very, very practical. And we've altered our awarding body in the past couple of years to a Sitting Guilds programme, where it is very much focused on those core practical skills, but also those communication skills. Because I know we talked earlier about the fact that, students, we often think students are quite digitally able, but actually what they can do is they can work their phone. Can't do much else but then work their phone and the TV. But it's been able to broaden those skills, but also to be able to hold a conversation, because we can all sit and look at a screen and mumble, but actually holding that professional conversation. And one of the good things about that particular course is the formal exam-based practical assessment. They have to hold a professional conversation with somebody and explaining exactly why they're doing, and be confident about it.
When I was doing, I would have been a BTEC National Diploma.
Level 3,
Don't ask me what it is now, but I'll take that BTEC National Diploma. Part of our course was you had to do, like a couple of the assignments had to be done on a computer. Whereas for me, it was the other way around. They had to tell me in my year 3, no, you've got to handwrite a couple of them, because I typed everything. It was just, is that still a requirement? Like you're talking about, people digitally can use a phone, but they've got to be able to demonstrate they can use Word and Excel or whatever it happens to be.
Most students now will
do
use
that.
A computer and one of the initiatives that we've had across college is that all of our level 3 students are given an iPad as part of the course, so that we can use it for within lessons for different applications, and we
showing them different apps or whatever it happens to be.
And we use a lot of Teams and things now for teaching and recording information that they need to have access to.
I guess coming back to you, George, you're trying to run a commercial farm here, but you've also got to provide facilities, the opportunities for teaching. I'm sure at times it's a pain.
It's challenging.
It's challenging. Yes, he's being very diplomatic here, isn't he? But how do you find it working with the students and I guess outside? What's the word? Well, I guess you mentioned contractors. People like that. How do you find the mix of the running the farm, the students outside? I can't think of the right word I'm looking for, but people. How does that work for you in terms of ensuring things are done when they need to be done, etc.?
Well, like I said, it is a challenge, but it is also quite a good challenge, because when you actually see them out doing it, helping, and enjoying it, it's the
reward of it.
It's reward to see that they're actually learning, hopefully, the right ways on doing it. There's definitely jobs where we always try and teach them exactly the perfect way. So if it's I come from a commercial farm, if you're doing certain things, you probably do it in a
slightly different way.
With students, teaching them absolutely the right way, it might take 3 days to get through that same amount of. That is one of the challenges, but it's a college farm.
But it's what you've got to do, though, isn't it?
We accept that. That's all part of teaching going forward, hopefully the right way. And the same with the contractors. We've got brilliant contractors here which do work very well with the students. They will hold up if they need to when we're doing maize, so they can build trailers.
You've
properly.
got some very good contractors then in that case, because a lot of contractors just go.
No, they are very good like that. They realise when we've got students, they will wait for them or something like that.
And work with them, which is good. That's fantastic.
And it gives it a good empathy with the students then, that they don't feel like they're on the negative side. They're on
part of the team.
Positive part of the team going forwards.
Yeah.
So we try and do everything, positively, show them the best possible way. But again, does give you challenges where things should be done a bit quicker sometimes. Where
weather's coming in or whatever it happens to be.
Sometimes you've got to override it and just carry it on and do things, because else you wouldn't get anything done. But there's a certain time factor with students that are actually on the farm. So after that, you've got to match it up with your own staff or contractors to finish.
Well, I was going to say, with that, let's say rain's coming in, you're harvesting maize. Let's keep going till midnight. Which contractors would. How does that fit in with the students? Or do they, at that point, once it gets to a certain time, they have to pull out?
Contractors, you've got enough here to carry on.
Right.
So sometimes we've got to have extra contractors when there's students here. So the job will get finished. Again, it is a slight financial burden.
Cost,
but that's to give the students experience. That's what we've got to do. So else we lose the crop.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
So you can't afford to lose the
window you've got. And
it is getting more and more this year, putting grass seeds in or wheat. Everybody's struggling everywhere. So it is something we've got a very good local contractor as well, which will come down a drop of a.
Yeah, so it is definitely a balancing act.
It's a balance all the time.
So using those contractors where you can, the students will do what they can, but there comes a point they've got to, for whatever safeguarding, whatever reason.
Lots of our students are 16, so they don't drive. They have to use local transport. So where possible, if they wanted to work on, they can work on for a few extra hours. Otherwise, George has said the contractors will pick it up, and we are really lucky. All of our local industry supporters are very understanding about the fact that we are trying to provide a really good experience for the students and support us in that, which might mean working a little bit flexibly when we need to.
And as you say, it's not just about the students you want to or need to engage with, or it's being involved with the whole outside industry, isn't it? Because you are a focal point to allow people to use you to try different things and bounce things and see what you're doing. But you're still a commercial farm ultimately. You're not here just you're not like a Southwest Dairy Development, but that's wrong, because that's still a commercial farm, isn't it, up there? But they're obviously trialling things all the time, and you're doing a similar way, but you're also teaching at the same time.
But you still need to be financially viable. You still need to be. And that's so important then.
It is. Yeah. Sorry, it's important for showing the community around us that, their children are coming here, and we're showing them the right way going forward, that you can make money out of
farming.
Exactly, for sure.
And you're now, as we already mentioned, part of Bridgewater and Taunton. You're a smaller cog in, I'm sure, a much bigger enterprise now than what it was when it was just Cannington. Yes, there were equine and golf and whatever, but it was still farm.
And now we are a land-based department within a much bigger enterprise. So it is important. And if you look across the whole college, we have the most expensive resources. We aim to that the farm wipes its face, but running an equestrian centre, running a very large animal collection for the animal management programmes, it all costs money.
So you mentioned sort of up to level 3. What do you do past level 3 in terms of?
So we offer an honours degree programme in agricultural management, which is really a very successful programme for our level 3 students, either to progress straight onto, or some of our students decide they go out and work for a couple of years and come back to it. They might have gone and worked on the home farm and then think, actually, I need to look at more of the management and how we, the business side of the farms. They come back in. So, and our degree programmes are 1 and 2 days a week.
I was going to say, are they full-time, part-time?
So they can people can still work outside that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, can they do them full time if they want to? Or is it all part time? The degrees.
The degrees are all sort of 2 days a week.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's definitely really good. So, where are you? Traditionally, it would have been Somerset, but where's your catchment area now?
I was just going to say, how do they get here if they don't live here?
So if they don't live, our catchment now is more national.
Right.
So we draw students from all over the country.
Right.
Why do you think that is? What makes Cannington stand out to them?
I think Bridgewater and Taunton College has a very good reputation nationally for lots of different subject areas. I think the whole package that you get as a student here and the opportunities for personal development, which I think are key, especially for our students that are now coming. You know, COVID was, I don't know how many years ago it was, 4 years ago?
4 years ago,
5 years ago.
Yeah.
But actually those students were at a really formative stage of their development, and they suddenly found themselves stuck in their bedrooms trying to log on online and continue their education. And I think, you know, our support systems that we have for students for developing those wider skills that are, and transferable skills, which are so important. It doesn't matter whether they end up going in agriculture or they go into a different industry. It is developing that whole person are really key.
As you mention it then, really, I mean, we keep hearing about it, but you're here firsthand. What are your experiences now with students that went through COVID? How are you seeing changes in them compared to as what you would have previously seen?
Yeah, I think self-confidence within the younger generations does appear to be low.
Yep.
Anxiety. I mean, you know, in a few, maybe pre-COVID, you wouldn't think that you'd be having a conversation about an agricultural student who was suffering from anxiety. It was just not, you know.
No, yeah.
I don't know, when I was at college, you know, it wasn't anything that you think.
Usually the ag students were the blasé ones, and
but actually that isn't the case at all now.
Right.
And so, you know, our support mechanisms at college have really had to ramp up. And change. Really the biggest things are self-confidence and
so that's where your role as a teacher has changed.
Yeah, it has, because your teaching methods have to take that into account. You know, some students really struggle to even walk into this building. You know, getting through the door is a real big step for them. You know, getting them into a classroom. Some students cannot walk into a classroom on their own.
I think what's so important is that this has been identified and you guys are doing something about it. And that is a fantastic advert for the whole system.
Yes.
We can actually now get these guys back in and get people back in. It's lovely. Yeah. It's a very positive story there.
But it does change the way. That teaching now has to happen, because you just have to be aware of all of those different things that are going on.
Big thing is awareness on all sides, I think. It's
for
spotting that one is struggling a bit, and it comes back onto the teachers and the staff around us.
Yeah.
Even on the farm, you know, we're all aware. You see somebody and you if they're struggling, we'll report it or something.
Right.
Like
so
that.
Everybody's more aware and
much more aware
concerned
now than we were 5 years ago.
Sure.
And I think one of the good things really about all of our curriculum is the level of practical work, and you will often find that students will, you know, disclose that they're struggling or something isn't quite right in that practical environment because they're doing something that they're comfortable with, and it's
fun.
And they will say things, and you know, staff have to be really well trained to be able to pick up on these sorts of things.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about just COVID, but particularly, I'm guessing yourself, Claire, you've been in the teaching game for a little bit, you said. How has that changed in the time from when you started to where it is now? I mean, COVID we've spoken about and the effect that's had, but how's it?
I mean, just teaching practices. I mean, when I started, I was using acetates. You know, my evenings were spent drawing pictures on acetates and writing up copious notes. You know, we've got one very antiquated OHP projector that I keep just to remind me of my roots.
Put it in the museum.
Now younger members of staff look at it and go, "What's that?"
Where'd you turn that on?
And you know, we were using blackboards and things like that. But now,
in terms of students,
teams, but on students again. students are, how can I put it?
I'm not meaning to sound ageist, but we all going, oh, bloody younger generation. But, is it or not?
Yeah. So it's very different now. It's in that, students previously, when I first started, we would be using books for research. It would take time. There were various academic skills that were linked to that.
True. Yeah. Now you just Google it.
You Google it,
Yeah.
and students want things, very quickly now. It is very, very different.
Yeah.
And I think, the people don't I often hear people say, oh, we're out in industry, it doesn't matter what industry. Yeah, I think I'll get into teaching because it's so much easier than working. Whew, they've never had to prepare for a week's lessons.
No.
Yeah.
And all the things that come with that. You've got 30 individuals in a classroom and all of their individual needs you need to be able to cover within that, hour and a half, 2 hour lesson that you're doing.
And probably 30 years ago, you might have had one or two, if you're lucky, with a phone. Now, probably everybody's got a phone. And as you say, they're all smartphones, so they can counter you almost instantly if they really want to.
Yeah. So
keeps you on your toes.
It does keep you on your toes. And I think, if a student asks you a question that you really don't know the answer of, you have to admit it, and you spin it. Let's find out about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it's very much so. If I sort of think back, if we got most of the information in the classroom or out of the textbooks you were given, but now what we really need to teach younger people is actually where to go to find this information.
Exactly.
And that's probably the biggest part of what we do.
If it's off the internet, half the skill is knowing what is true and what is not. How
to measure whether it's true or not, and how to understand.
So you were saying catchment's pretty much nationwide now.
Yeah, where do they stay?
Well, yeah, I'd say I'm guessing you've got accommodation here. You always did.
We have got accommodation here.
Yeah. But I guess how do they find you? How do they inquire about what courses they want and see what's here?
Online. So
everything's online these days.
To find it.
We do have a really good website, so you can find out about courses online. We hold a number of open events across the year. So some of them are at our Taunton and Bridgewater centres. But we're all there as a land-based team. We're there providing advice, but we also obviously have
open days
here at Cannington. So we had one last week. We had over 300 people come to our open day, record numbers, coming down to look at our facilities, learn about our courses. And then, you apply online and we interview all year round. Then courses start in September.
I mean, what are numbers like? Because I know when I was here for the NDA, I think we started with a dozen, and the NCA would have done, they were probably a dozen and a half. And I think by the time we finished, there was only 9 of us actually finished the NDA sort of thing. So it was like, we are really quite small compared to, looking around, there seems to be more students down here now. Have student numbers picked up, do you think?
Student numbers are strong. We've got 135 students at the moment studying agriculture.
Good.
Those are just the full-time numbers.
Yep.
Numbers are strong, and interest, like I've just said, last week's open days to go on, then numbers are remaining very, very strong. And, for me, I think it is down to those key industry partners that people know that we're working with, so students are getting that real life experience.
So you say that. What industry partners are you working with here?
Are we allowed to name them?
Yeah.
So Hunt Forest are great.
Yep. Let's give them a shout out because,
they're brilliant. Work really well with us. We have a fleet of new tractors from them each academic year.
That's amazing.
And the students get to go and see their workshops.
Yeah.
They come in and help teach with our mechanisation lecturers, so the students get that full deal.
Exactly, it's integration with the industry. It's not just taught in the workshop here or whatever. As you say, you're going out into their workshops and everything. I think that's fantastic.
George works with, I don't want to offend anybody by not mentioning them, but George works really closely with Mill Valley Farmers. Again, the support that we get and the input in the classroom, and that's what we're always
absolutely
after.
Of course.
Shepton Vets. Bibby at Shepton Vets works with our students and again gets that, boots on the ground in the farm, talking about what they're seeing and knowing what to do about, if there's problems.
Which is good that you've got that, as you say, it's not just in the classroom. It's bringing those people in and bringing their experience in and their teaching and their involvement with the students, so the students are having that interaction with professional people within the industry.
I mean, we're very lucky. Most of our teaching staff also are involved still in the industry. So we're not a department where people have shut off and only have their knowledge from, whatever they've read. They are still out there. So they can bring real life examples of their own experience that's up to date into the classroom as well. But matching that with people that are in the industry. Yeah. Like I said, it keeps our students up to date, but also means that they're meeting potential employees or employees all of the time.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking.
That's really key because you might come to college thinking, actually, I want to milk cows. That is my purpose. That's my goal at the end of my course. But by the time you've met with, I don't know, the vet or somebody who's advised on nutrition or something, you can see that there's absolutely a myriad of jobs out there.
Absolutely.
That it is so broad now. And I think it is making people understand that, and also getting parents to understand that as well, especially if they don't come from an agricultural background. So we do get a high proportion of students who don't come from an agricultural background.
That's good. Yeah.
They're looking at, first-time entrants, which is great. But again, it's opening their eyes to what the opportunities are.
So important.
And you're saying about students, I was just talking to one of my lecturers who's still here, so hello, Richard. And he was saying he's now teaching the children of some of the people that I went to college with. So it's, that continues there. And it's great that people still want to send their kids to Cannington, because Cannington still has that reputation of doing a good job of what it's wanting to be doing.
Positive reflection on Cannington.
We're outside now with Claire and George. We are now stood in the feed passage of the main cubicle shed, what I would have known as the cathedral barn. Cathedral shed when it was first built many years ago. Basically, what can you tell us?
Right, on the right hand side is our main cubicle shed. In there we've got a high yielding and a low yielding group. High yielding, there's about 200 in there. Split the low yielding group, there's about 48. Obviously they're on two different rations, TMR rations. And on the left hand side there's our close-up dry cow group, which we bring those up 28 days before calving so we can keep a close eye on them, and they go on to bespoke feed again with a decalb, especially for pre-calving, so we don't get any milk fevers. At the moment our milk fever rate is about 1 a year, so it's working what we're doing on that side. A bit further down we've got on the left hand side in this shed is a small group of pre-service heifer group, which we start them at, we start serving at 12 and a half months old. And then further down we've just got a small straw yard shed for cows that just need a little bit of TLC.
Just remind us how big is the milking herd in total, and what are you producing and who are you selling to?
The total herd at the moment is about 225. They produce in about 10,500 litres, and we actually sell to Tesco Miller. We've gone to sex semen and had a lot of success with it, so we had to then refine it down because we're having far too many heifers come through. So we've got a line now that we just each month we put 18 to sex semen at the end of the year to get about 66.
So calving all year round?
Calving all year round, so we to try and get about 66 replacements, which is about 35%. Hopefully that gives us a little that's right. Yeah. So if not, we can then sell a few on if we have to market. So and then the rest are beef, and I've got a local farmer, so they don't go to a market or anything. They go straight to a local farmer, all the beef. So he takes all our local beef.
That works ideal.
And that's lovely. Less stress on for those, and he comes in once a week.
Has the farm got any beef on farm at all now or not?
No, we don't. We have got a few that we've retained, but no, we haven't got any anymore.
That's fair enough. It's just asking.
Yeah.
No, we did have a small group, but we through a Yoni's problem, we've had to get rid of those.
So,
they brought in Yonis.
So what is on the farm now? Really, it's the core is the dairy. Which
Dairy.
It's always
Dairy. We do sheep.
Yeah,
We've got a flock of sheep, which about 200 ewes.
Yep.
And we lamb in with students. We're lambing in January this year.
Yep.
End of January, beginning of February. We're working with a curriculum as well.
Yeah, if needed, we have pigs on site, so we do training for the fire brigade. And so large animal handling.
Yep.
So they spend a day down here learning how to handle cows, but also pigs as well. And then they spend a second day in the equine department learning how to handle horses for rescues.
They're very sensible and stuff, but it is good because it's just learning them how to maneuver animals around, where they just stand totally in the wrong place and things like that. So it's good on handling as much as anything.
And we also have a contingency of French students over every year from Sanlo, so that partnership's been going for about 30 years now. And we deliver part of their French qualification, which is called BTS.
Right.
And part of that is pigs. So again, it means that we have pigs in at certain times during the year, so the students
how many
get together.
pigs have you got on the farm?
We haven't got any at the moment. We just get them
try
in.
and keep them at a short.
So you're just literally finishing them, growing them, finishing them. Is it not farrowing?
That's right. No.
Primarily dairy, sheep.
Yeah.
Any other enterprises on the farm side of things?
No, we
Arable is all for yourself.
We do all the arable, so we do grow about 30 to 50 acres of wheat. That is for whole crop. We grow about 70 to 80 acres of maize. Again, that's for the dairy. So it basically is all just for dairy. Self-contained. Trying to keep it as self-contained so we don't have to buy out and things like that. So
We've just got to that point now, haven't we?
the weather is very trying at the moment. That's for all farmers.
Year or two, hasn't it?
You produce most of the food yourself?
Yes, that's our aim. That's the whole idea of keeping it in-house. We are a closed herd as well now. We've got back to that. So we breed all our own replacements using sex semen.
A change in some of our cropping over the past couple of years because we've got to the end of the season and we've suddenly found that we've had to buy in silage. And so, George has been working with the agronomist and a contractor who comes in to do all of our drilling just to refresh what we're doing. So we've increased, the amount of maize that we grow and also put some whole crop in, which I'm sure George will talk about.
So, but just to become self-reliant is
that's what we're trying to do. So we've gone back to, as George said, being a closed herd, but also being as much self-sufficient as we can and give the students the breadth of experience while they're here. We only grow the forage that we need. We don't have vast areas to do other things with. So 5 years into us being a closed herd, we're reaching those levels again. And if we do sell off any surplus, then they are received really well by the local farming community.
Because it's so important in a scenario like this to show them what is possible. And what we're saying about producing your own food and making a plan when you don't have enough and how to actually do that. Because otherwise it's pretty easy.
That's it, isn't it? And I think we mentioned just now about the Benhamans project that we've got going. One of the things that we are really keen to show along with Benhamans is that we're not a big farm. We haven't got a big milking herd, but actually you can make a significant diffence.
That's right, exactly.
If you're willing to give it a go, and I appreciate the financial side of it might be a bit daunting.
Sure.
But what we're hoping to show the local farming community and obviously our students is the big impact that you can have as a producer by trying something that's a little bit different. And we're also in talks with talking to colleagues at Kingshay about developing some of those information exchange groups with local producers, bringing people in and really trying to get that communication going about what research would you like to see on your farm, how can we help you, and what is the long-term benefits of that.
You've got the ideal opportunity here to be a focus for the local community to try different things. Yes, you're a commercial farm, but also surely there's got to be a bit of a remit of we're here to educate not just the students walking through the door, but some of the wider community on some of the different options that are out there. It's not always the way it's always been. No. I mean, some of the stuff we do is about new technologies. So we've been at like the South West Area Development Centre and done some recordings up there. And just some of the new technology that's coming along, to see this and what can be done is incredible. Yeah,
and I think the other thing is we don't always get it right either.
No,
just because we're a college doesn't mean we always get things right. No. And again, sometimes it's about sharing those experiences, isn't it? We've tried this, it's not quite worked out for us, but actually it might work for somebody else.
That's right.
They are certainly happy and content here, don't they?
They
do. We've made some really quite big improvements in this building in the last couple of years. So we had the fans fitted.
Yep.
We also opened up the sides.
And I should say, it's about 9 degrees today and the fans are still going. They're keeping the air moving, which is good.
We also had new LED lights put in.
You can see that now, they're on, which is good.
Yeah, we found along that side, where you can see underneath the boarding is now open. That was all closed off. And we noticed that the cows were obviously going to the areas that were lighter and eating. And then a lot of that feed face wasn't being utilised fully. So we opened all of that up. And that's made a huge improvement. They're nice and calm, aren't they? It has a nice feeling, this farm.
It does. Twice a day milking?
Yes, we milk 4 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon.
Yep.
And students will get involved in both.
Yeah, I think we were 4, 12 and 8, I think it was. So, yeah.
I mean, with safeguarding and various other things.
Yeah, I saw all
we need. That's it. The students need to be back at home, back in accommodation and things, rather than still
down the pub. Come on, the students.
We
be
have a lot of 16-year-old students.
Right.
So not in the village in the pub now. In their room studying.
But it is. You say it's very different now, isn't it? I mean, you just look here, the fact that everyone's got to go through a gate and everything to go through. Well, it just used to be everyone just. It was open. I mean, it's just how everything's changed. At schools, full stop have changed, haven't they? They've become a lot more fenced off then, shall we say?
Yes, and like I've just said before, with safeguarding, we need to know who's on site at any one point, hence your lanyards and signing in and all sorts of things.
Exactly. So things have moved on.
Yeah.
So, we're now here in the parlour. So tell us about the parlour, George, and then tell us just duties the students are involved with on the farm.
Yeah, I'll tell you about the parlour and then I'll let Claire go through the duties which they're on. So the parlour is a 24 herringbone. We do a pre-foam, wipe the cows, strip the cows and then put them on. Then we got a post spray afterwards, so for the cleanliness.
Yep.
Basically, one person can milk.
Yep.
It used to be a double, it needed 2 before. So for that sake, and labour these days, the cost of labour, we've had to look into that. So one person can be in their own milk on their own now.
Yep. So we've now moved into the calf shed. Claire, what can you tell us about how involved are the students with the duties on farm?
Yeah, so the aim is to get students involved in all aspects of running the college farm, whether that's in the dairy, whether it's out in the fields. So students will spend time working with our practical instructors, who are the link between the curriculum and the farm. So for part of the time, they're working for George. They're all line managed by George, but they're working here on the farm. And then the other part of the time, during term time, they're working with the curriculum team and actually taking the students for their practical duties. So you just saw Kat going in to do practical with a group of students. And it means that they are up to date on both elements of the farm, because running a college farm is really difficult. We've got the commercial aspects and the pressures of that, but also we need to service the curriculum and ensure that the students get the best opportunities that they have. So they could be working with the contractors who come in to do some of the field work. Students will take on some of that, won't they, George?
Yes.
Working alongside, getting the silage in, getting the maize, getting the grass seed back in, doing the drilling.
Yeah.
They get involved in that aspect.
We tried to incorporate all sides of that. The contractors are very good, and we wouldn't have them if they weren't.
I was going to say that must take some commitment from the contractors as well.
They've got to be very present.
To be involved.
But that's why we use the contractors we use.
Yeah. And we also link with a local dealership who supplies us with 5 brand new tractors every year. Every academic year, so students come in September. We've got 5 brand new curriculum tractors, different sizes, all the latest kit on them.
Oh, wow.
So actually,
fantastic.
They're using those
different than your trucks.
every year. Yeah. I think we've probably still got some of them. But for the agriculture students, they get that from day one. When they go out on farm, whether that's on work placement or whether it's when they finish their course and they go out to employment, they've actually got experience using that equipment.
I could say, aren't you spoiling them? Because you could say on farm, it's not always the latest equipment, and therefore they need some experience using some of the older equipment too.
We do have older equipment at college, but we're raising aspirations.
Yeah.
And, when you look at precision farming, you look at efficiencies, then actually that's where they need to be thinking.
Aspiring.
Yeah,
definitely.
they need to aspire to that.
Definitely.
And, they spend time out in the workshops at the dealership as well, looking at different advancements that are coming in. So,
are there any workshops on college anymore?
Yeah, so we have workshops at the top of the hill, on the other part of campus. Probably the same ones that were here when you were here. So they have, all the kit that they need.
They also get to go into.
They do,
So
we try and do a very broad-based curriculum, and you'll find as curriculum is at the point of changing, where it's becoming quite specialised and narrow, where we are very keen that our students get the broad experience.
At that age, they need it.
Exactly. And I think, we have, so like I say, curriculum is changing. We have stayed with our current level 3 provision because it gives them all aspects of a mixed farming enterprise. Whereas the new qualifications, you choose between livestock or arable, and they are very, very niche. And I think it's, we need the students to be able to understand the machinery side of it, understand that if you've got a herd of dairy cows, you're also growing their forage, so they need to have those skills as well. It's that broadness, isn't it?
I would agree with that, because even when I was at college, dairy was what I was interested in, but it's still, as you say, I have an understanding of. I'm not the biggest fan of sheep, for example, but at least understand the basics of sheep.
Right, exactly.
To know what's going on, or have those conversations with other people. At least you understand what's happening.
And the same for myself. When I came out of college, my thing was beef and sheep. But actually, I understood the workings of a tractor, and I told when something was going wrong, and I take bits apart and tinker with it. And I think those, and although you don't take tractors apart and tinker with them nowadays, somebody comes along with a diagnostic box and tells you what it is. But it's still having that understanding and that broader understanding of where the industry is going and what the future holds. So the students, are involved in everything. George has already mentioned we've got lambing coming up. In the new year, students will be involved fully with that, and then working those lambs through. Hopefully, we aim to get them off farm by the end of the academic year. For 2 reasons: George's team then aren't running around the fields trying to look at lambs and things, and also the students then get to see the end product, so they follow that enterprise through the year.
Which is good for them to see. So we're in the calf shed, George. What can you tell us about the calf shed?
Well, this is what we call the baby unit in here. So we bring them, heifer calves come in here. They go in separate pens. 2 in a pen. They stay in here for the first 5 days.
Yep.
So they're good.
I'm assuming that's a Tesco requirement, isn't it, to be
2 in a pen.
Yeah.
So they stay in here. We do intend to have heat lamps down through as well in here. As I'll show you in a minute. When they're a little bit older, they go straight under them. So just to make sure they are fit and ready to go into the larger pens where it's an automatic feeder.
Yep.
So we want them
ready to go.
The beef are kept in here ready to go because as soon as the passports come,
they would go. They go.
When the passports arrive, they would go within that next week. It's adapting, as you can see. We've been changing the airflow and things just to try and get that better as well. So.
So when we move through, we're working with VOLAC on some milk trials, aren't we? Milk powder trials. So, the students get involved in that. George's team will take down the daily live weight gains and record that and then help feed that back into the industry. So again, the students are getting involved in that, shaping what's happening.
For the future.
Yeah.
Well, as we're here, you might not be able to hear in the background, we've got some students moving some calves around.
Yes.
Wherever we seem to be going, we're being followed by students. Hey, that's the nature of
the I'm delighted.
Well, it is. It's good to see it, isn't it? Let's be honest in that regard.
Alongside this Benneman's project, so you can see our lagoon's looks a bit sad. It works, but it looks a bit sad. So the surveyors are here this morning, starting to survey the site for us. And the plan, hopefully, is by this time next year, we are capturing methane. So we've been working with Benneman's really closely about redesigning this, capturing the methane and then using it to run the farm from, run tractors and also run generators across the farm, which would be brilliant, help us to move towards that self-sufficiency.
So what's involved? They're obviously surveying it, but what will be the way forward from there?
So you can see the lagoon's we've got a corner here, so the corner's going to be taken out, square it up, but also the sides aren't level, so it's squaring the whole thing off, making sure it's level. And then obviously the lid that gets put on it that then captures the methane. One of our colleagues, it will be out recording it and talking to them, so we can capture all of that information. And Chris is doing a blog on the journey that we have with this project.
Good, yeah.
And it means then that we've got evidence and information that we can use with our students, but again, with that wider audience.
Wider audience, absolutely.
Of everything. George and I thought in the summer that, by August we'd be finished.
Not so much.
It's not that. Well, it is, and like you said, how do we attract students? That's how we attract students. It's all the things that go on, and that wider experience that we can give students when they come here.
So we're really excited about this one, although it's not quite simple as what you think when you first envisaged it, which is really good. We found that out.
Yeah.
And keeping the information, we can put that out to other farms where you've got to step up. Because you need to start off early.
Just watch Grand Designs, it never goes quick.
I never No, George and I thought that they'd just turn up with covered in with whip that off. Put the cover on. No.
That's true.
Just because we want to slightly take that little square out and these we've got to go through quite a lot of policies to do that, which is unbelievable.
A lot of hoops.
A lot of hoops.
Which you wouldn't think would happen. Either. So,
I'm sort of looking at the time now a little bit and thinking we should pull this to a close. George, any last words of wisdom? Don't be a farm manager at a college student. A college campus, sorry.
I think the main thing is that we do try and promote good practice at all time at Cannington, and that is hopefully channeled into students. So we try and put a positive vibe on agriculture going forward.
Yeah. Claire?
Agriculture is one of our key industries. It's so vitally important nationally to us, and I think that needs to be recognised more. I think students and people entering the industry need to be supported, and I think at college, and I'm sure lots of other colleges as well, are just really passionate about it and encouraging people to take part in this industry because it is so very, very important.
Well, I know I've said it. It's something Neil picked up on a couple of little while ago. The people we talk to for this podcast are always so passionate about their chosen subject, whether it's talking about feet mobility, whether it's talking about maize harvesting, whether it's whatever it happens to be. People are so passionate about this industry that they are in and what they specialise in. And if you go find them to talk about whatever it happens to be, they will show that passion. There are so many people who are passionate about this industry.
Huge, including us.
Neil?
Well, I think it's been fantastic what you guys have shown us. And what I really like today is that this is what you're teaching these guys is really relevant. It's really what's going on in our industry, and that's really great. That's just what one wants to see when you come in here, especially that it's economically viable, and how you're actually doing it to make it economically viable, and how you're continuously thinking all the time about how to do it and how to teach them. Absolutely wonderful. And then the forward thinking. Fantastic. These guys are going to come here and they're going to learn new ideas about agriculture and where it's going. And I've often spoken to students about this. This is actually what you call an insurance policy that you cannot buy. You come to a college or to a university and you get something that stays with you. No one can take that away from you. And you're learning just a completely different side to what you do. So like you guys have said, genetics or nutrition or machinery or sheep farming instead of cattle farming or cattle farming instead of sheep farming. The whole point is just allow yourself to go and look at everything from a totally different point of view.
It opens your eyes, doesn't it? Because I don't know if it's still the case, but certainly when we were in the third year of the ND8, we used to pretty much have a farm visit once a week. And one afternoon. And it just opens your eyes to new ideas, new ways. Absolutely. It's not just the way father or grandfather have always done it. And we can't do that in this industry anymore.
No, we can't.
We've got to move forward and being able to do this in a formal way. Because I know myself, taught how to do VAT here and whatever. And it's like, if I thought my father trying to teach me that, it would have been a nightmare. The arguments, whatever. But at least this way, it's in a formal way. It's just opening your eyes to new ideas.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And it really does do that.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you both very much for your time today. Much appreciated. If anybody would like to know more about Cannington, I guess go search them on the web and all the information's there.
It's well worth it.
So I guess otherwise it's a goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.
Goodbye.
Goodbye from me.
Thank you for listening to the Chewing the Cud podcast, a podcast for the UK dairy industry brought to you from the southwest of England and listened to around the world. And now for the really boring bit, I'm afraid, the legal disclaimer. The information provided during this podcast has been prepared for general information purposes only and does not constitute advice. The information must not be relied upon for any purpose and no representation or warranty is given to its accuracy, completeness or otherwise. Any reference to other organisations, businesses or products during the podcast are not endorsements or recommendations of Chewing the Cud Limited. The views of Andrew Jones are personal and may not be the views of Chewing the Cud Limited, and the views of Neil Gregor are personal and may not be the views of Game Changer Farming and any affiliated companies. For more information on the podcast and details of services offered by Chewing the Cud Limited, visit www.chewingthecud.com. Thank you and goodbye.